quiet all around, please.
Ever since Bryan and I were kids, we always dreamed of making a dinosaur movie. We met when we were 11 years old, and so the first movies that we ever made were using our action figures and using our toys. And so I think the dream for us was to be able to make a large-scale action adventure movie on the canvas of 65 million years ago with dinosaurs.
When you're a kid, there are these larger-than-life creatures that are so mystifying and magical, and colliding that with this idea of a human who is around at the same time. It was really exciting to us.
Scott and Bryan have been best friends since 6th grade. The way I interpret them as Scott being the left brain and Bryan being the right brain.
Snug it up a little bit so we lose her hand.
They just look at each other, and sometimes they don't have to say anything and they know exactly what they're thinking, so they're just two peas in a pod. They work brilliantly together.
One clap in front of your guys' faces.
Oh yeah, okay, at the same time.
For Scott and I, filmmaking is all about storytelling. Whether it's A Quiet Place or 65, we love focusing on the heightened elements of the movie, which is the emotion between the characters, the scary monsters, the action of the film, and really chasing pure cinema.
Whenever we write a movie or direct a movie,
We have the mantra that it's about what you don't see. So this whole movie has been built upon that mantra. There's something out there inside this environment that Mills and Koa have to engage with, and we're using sound design, we're using the camera, we're using all the different production design elements to suggest what's out there, and only at the right moment will we kind of spook the audience with what they're about to see.
the power of suggestion to us is better than any visual effect that you can spend $1 million for. What audiences can conjure in their mind from a sound design perspective can often be the most terrifying thing possible. And so I think for us, transporting these characters back to the time of dinosaurs, all of a sudden you have this innate terror that is existing in the forest at every direction. And so we're trying to fuel each scene wherever we see it fit with the idea of empowering the audience's imagination of terrifying roar coming out of the forest, and you start hearing that come closer and closer instead of just relying on pure visual effects.
Just breathe.
Part of the tension was making trees move, but you don't see anything, or bushes move a little bit and you don't see that, or the ground vibrates a little bit. We did a lot of that.
And as filmmakers, we're always looking for fun ways for us to invoke suspense. One of the fun ideas we had was to shoot the finale at night, and every time a meteor sails over the scene, it kind of lights the scene, and that allowed us to keep the dinosaurs in darkness. And it's only in these kind of key moments that it illuminates it. And it just goes back to A Quiet Place and that feeling of less is more.
Run!
I'm just really excited for this movie. It's one of a kind. The premise is so unique. I've never seen anything like this before.
It's a really fun ride. I think that the intent is to create something that's very emotional, it's very scary, very exciting, and very tense, all at the same time.
This is a movie that is not in the language of English or alien. It's in the language of cinema and visual storytelling. And we always said that if we did our jobs right, this movie would be able to play all around the world and there would be no language barrier. It's the visuals, it's the camera storytelling, it's what's going on behind the dialogue, behind the lines and the performances. And it's of course the spectacle of big scale dinosaurs really utilizing big, bold, cinematic elements to tell the story. 65 is
It's an explosive dino extravaganza.
It's dynamite.
Bryan and I were huge fans of genre filmmaking.
And 65 really combines, the horror and suspense genre with sci-fi. And so the combination of those helped carve out this world where future meets past.
This movie is a bigger movie scope-wise. We're kind of traversing more genres and bigger set pieces. The inspiration behind 65 was always that Mills was going to crash land from one movie into a better movie.
Kevin Ishioka is the production designer on 65, and he's an artist whose work we've admired from afar for a long time. He's worked on some of the best sci-fi films of the last 20 years.
I'm a science fiction guy. That's what I embrace. That's what kind of allowed me to kind of gather into this. The set is a character in the movie.
Everything in this film has to be designed and fabricated from scratch. Our production designer Kevin and our directors worked tirelessly for months designing everything from the futuristic parts of the ship and what our character Mills is going to be handling and touching. Then we're going to be dealing with the prehistoric dinosaurs as well. And that's when future meets past.
Kevin is so talented. I mean, his credits speak for itself, and he's such a hard worker, and he always wants to deliver the best. I think the spaceship was just incredible.
For Kevin, it was really important to make sure the science of the ship was all sound. And so he had an answer for every technical question we could possibly have about how does this ship fly, what kind of energy is it using. He really thought it through from top to bottom.
The most important feature in a science fiction sets are the doors. Because the doors are the first thing you see and the last thing you see as you exit a set.
The doors were something we worked on for a long time. They kind of were all over the place. And then we also had to build these onto the cockpit because the cockpit had to ride on the big gimbal and move. So this also had to go for a ride as well.
Ariana Mark. The gimbal was crazy. I love roller coasters, so I didn't really know what to expect, but I knew that it was going to be fun. Although, when I come down and it's a bit doozy, it's all good.
Take Mark.
The world is Earth 65 million years ago. And obviously we don't know that it's Earth. The whole gag is it's this primordial world that feels familiar but also doesn't.
Dinosaur films, they always feel like they take place in the jungle. And so for us, we're like, well, how can we not do that? And we started thinking about Yellowstone and Pacific Northwest, where there's a lot of fossil sites and there's a lot of paleontologists that flock towards that area. And so we shot 65 on a few different locations in New Orleans, Oregon, and also Ireland. One of the things that we absolutely fell in love with were the different swamps and the bayou and that incredible mysterious look that area kind of portrays.
It was such a unique challenge, the sound design in this film, trying to capture what a prehistoric Earth would sound like and really challenging the sound team, Steve Tickner and Max Smith, with finding really unique winds and tree creaks and what did the world sound like. They had to establish this kind of Pangean Earth environment, which for us was an extremely dangerous place for our characters to be. And so we always wanted it to feel kind of menacing and threatening.
Talked about the science fiction, but the journey is not just about that. It's about going into an alien environment, the challenges of the alien environment, and hopefully they could, just have fun with the journey. Take the roller coaster ride when we're going uphill and there's some perils, and to the downhill where we have some moments of glory. I hope that that all kind of reads, and I hope people embrace it.
You see this incredible production design by Kevin Ishioka, and it just kind of summarizes the magic of filmmaking. So we felt like it'd be an extraordinary opportunity to be able to transport audiences back exactly 65 million years ago to see what the landscape looks like, what the dinosaurs looked like, and how raw and dangerous and aggressive planet Earth was at that period.
It is hard not to be amazed by the vast discoveries made in our universe. The more that is revealed, the more questions surface. But it is these questions that inspire new discoveries. Join us in our exploration of space as we uncover its mysteries. This is Primordial Planet. This young planet has the makings of lush grasslands, forests, deserts, and tundras. These ecosystems are the very foundations that support every living species. From the small to the large, each develops special adaptations to fight for a place in the cycle of life. For example, Pteranodons have adapted the ability to fly with massive wings to avoid predators and search new locations for food and water. Some are small, like this Dromaeosaurus, standing only 3 feet tall. Their agility and cunning give them a massive advantage in finding their dinner. There is strength in numbers. Unless, of course, you are a Tyrannosaurus rex, whose immense size and ferocity allow them to have no known predators. Except the only species that can claim its spot at the top of the food chain. Not native to this planet, man has found ingenious ways of conquering any environment he comes across. It is man's mind and ingenuity that gives him the upper hand in any situation. Though a foreigner to this land, man is not the only extraterrestrial force with his eyes set on this spherical sanctuary of life. As special as this planet may be, it is not impervious to the forces of our universe. So in the end, it doesn't matter how large you get, how smart you are, or whatever adaptations you evolve into, most creatures on this planet will share the same fate. Some may call this planet doomed. We call this primordial planet Earth.
Give it to me. Give it to me.
Distance to escape vessel, 10 measures. Asteroid impact in 650 cycles.
Tell me one more time. Two. Oh, yeah, not right now. That's right.
Launch.
Launch. All the way to I'm leaving. You'll be fine.